First tonight, a thawing of tensions in a highly publicized feud between the governor and the deputy governor of Edo State. Philip Shaibu has apologized to Governor Godwin Obaseki in front of journalists and media crew. The deputy governor asked Obaseki to, quote, forgive him for wrongdoings he may be unaware of. Over the past few weeks, both men have been at loggerheads after Obaseki accused Shaibu of attempting to overthrow him. Earlier this week, Shaibu had alleged that he was denied access to his office in Benin City. Here's a snippet of his reconciliatory message from his new office.
I am a loyal servant. I am a loyal servant. There's nothing that has changed. I took a personal vow to support my governor, and you can see my Catholic people are here. Everything about me, if I have a vow with God, there's nothing that will change it. And I can only wish that that relationship that we have, I pray, I know in the next few days and weeks it will come back. I'm missing my governor really, but by the grace of God, I know God will touch the governor's heart and touch all of us. And even those that are trying to be in between, God will touch them to know that I mean well. If there's any mistake that I've made as human, it's just human. It's not out of maybe wickedness, because I'm not wicked. I have a very clean heart. And I will use the medium too to appeal to Mr. Governor. If there's anything that I don't know that I've done, please forgive me, so that we can develop our state together. We have just less than, how many months? Just 1 year to go. We have been the envy of the entire country. It's still possible. So, Mr. Governor, please, if there's anything you feel that I've done, I am sorry. I need us to work together to finish well and strong, because that is my prayer for you.
Arise analyst Frank Tietie joins us now for discussions on some of these issues. Frank Tietie, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us again tonight. Let's start with the Deputy Governor of Edo State actually coming out in that, quite moving, emotional, apology to his principal. Is it the time and the place that's brought about this, softening of stance on his part? But what do you make of the apology?
Philip Shaibu, His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Edo State, appeared to be quite penitent, as if he was doing some sort of penance and for his sins against the governor, appealing for forgiveness. It was very, I believe, from the standpoint as one who has stood firmly in the ground for the respect for the office of the Deputy Governor, that I feel, with all due respect, personally embarrassed that the Deputy Governor had to approach Governor Obaseki as if he is his God, seeking for forgiveness as if his sins were so grave against him. This is Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu in a church attempting to greet the governor, to exchange pleasantries with the governor. And the governor was looking onto him in such pitiful manner when the officer of the Department of State Services prevented him from getting close to the governor. The photos were shared across national dailies and on the internet. That was very embarrassing. The humiliation Philip Shaibu has received under Governor Obaseki is a matter for discourse in terms of determining what are the true tenets and culture of democracy in Nigeria, and what should they be. To now see Obaseki come out defying spirited arguments that I have put on national television, international television, addressing the powers and functions, particularly the executive powers and functions of a deputy governor under Section 193 of the Constitution. It shows how powerless Philip Shaibu has just realized that he is against the all-powerful Governor Obaseki. But the bottom line is that it's not correct. It's not right for democracy. The deputy governor is not It's not a spare tire. The deputy governor is not somebody who exists at the mercy of the governor. He should not worship the governor to the extent that when he sins against the governor, he comes on national television, assembles journalists to announce that he's begging the governor for forgiveness, and even makes such an emotional statement that he misses the governor, as if the governor used to feed him or give something that he used to survive. Now he doesn't have it anymore. I think that Philip Shaibu should have done better. And Governor Obaseki should have desisted from appearing like a godlike human being.
What really could he have done?
He should have just remained as deputy governor, respected the office, and maintained his stance to be given an honorable treatment. I think he deserved better than this. But I think he has been browbeaten, he has been beaten to the floor, and he has realized that.
Well, perhaps there are certain influences behind him pushing him to take that route. Well, let's move away from that because for the brevity of time.
Yeah.
If we look at the results of the judgment of the Election Petition Tribunal in different states, LP, whether it's Labour Party in Enugu State or the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP in Kano State, are we back to the era of still kicking against the court judgment? We thought all that was over.
You know, we must be careful to respect whatever decision the courts take. Whether the court is operating as a tribunal, so long as there is a reflection of the judiciary, there must be that continued pretension so that we can maintain order in this society. And I emphasize pretension, that whatever the courts do are correct until they are set aside. Right. Now, let's get this. So let's move away from this condemnation where one party loses and then it comes to say, look, this represents a bleak future for the Nigerian judiciary. That is very undemocratic and very unsavory a political statement to make. However, when you see, we've dealt seriously with issues of conflicting judgments before. What has happened in Kano, for example, shouldn't come as a surprise. But you can see that for the first time, the tribunal, not necessarily first time, I have received judgments as a practicing lawyer delivered by Justice Aneni of the FCT High Court, virtually. But a tribunal has also decided to deliver the judgment virtually, not because it's a technological innovation, but because it's afraid. It's afraid that it's going to deliver an unpopular judgment because the judgment against a candidate that is very popular, but did not appear to them to have won on technical grounds. And if you look at the provisions of Section 63 of the Electoral Act, you may think that the tribunal was on solid ground to have, nullified the election of Governor Yusuf, because the ballot papers ought to be actually one way or the other marked. But again, that same the second aspect of Section 63 says the electoral officer, the presiding officer must also convince himself that even if they are not well marked, so long as they are torn out of the ballot booklet, they should actually be counted. So what the presumption is that the tribunal did a physical inspection of the ballot papers and came to that conclusion. And if that is the case, then it may be difficult to overturn the decision at the higher court.
Even if Abba Yusuf, he said he's going to the Supreme Court, and just like it's been said, there must be an end to litigation. But there are other bases, for this upturning. Yusuf was not a member of the NNPP, according to the tribunal. That's at the time of the governorship election. And of course, that the margin of lead was not up to the number of cancelled votes.
Oh, yes, but the law is supposed to be predictable. The idea of giving conflicting judgments, and when a higher court, like the Court of Appeal, sitting as an election tribunal, has made a decision that it is not the business of both the court and any other person for that matter concerned in determining who is a member of a political party, especially when the question is being raised by an opposition member. So it's a political party that says that this is our member, and it remains there. And so Peter Obi is a beneficiary of that position of the law, right, as declared by the Court of Appeal. So that cannot come up. We are seeing, and this is a problem, when the judiciary, particularly the tribunal, begins to give decisions that are clearly out of sync with what higher courts in hierarchy like the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court have ruled on, people now begin to say, oh, they have collected money. Because I am not shying away from saying this anymore, because in our public discourse, I believe that because of the hallowed, nature of the judiciary, certain terms and terminology, certain words should not be used. But is that there in public? Now, judges, particularly those of the judiciary, of the tribunal, collect bribes. They are said by party officials and all of that. Even a state commissioner in Kano had to come up to say, look, you judges are dead if you do anything to the contrary. Just imagine that.
Kano, let's talk about that in 30 seconds. I mean, he says, look, the ruling of the tribunal is victory for democracy.
That is a contentious ruling, because an expression made by the tribunal when it says that, let us assume that the NYC certificate is fake. The NYC certificate is not a requirement to be qualified to contest as governor. That's a big mistake. You look, in Nigeria, you are actually free not to present any certificate when you want to become president or governor. You can simply go to the INEC and convince them that you can speak English language. That is sufficient for you to contest as a governor in Nigeria. But wait, if you ever present any certificate and there is an issue as to whether it was forged, it becomes a real issue. So don't present any certificate, but if you present, so what it means is that the tribunal appear to have shied away from the issue of forgery, because it's a constitutional matter, because section 177, section 182, so it makes it a very crucial issue that so long as any certificate presented to INEC is fake or is forged, it's a ground for disqualification.
Okay, then, so we understand why it's beginning to look that technical and complicated. We just hope that the people are able to come to terms with whatever the court decides in every case. Thank you very much indeed, Frank Tietie, for coming today.